On today's show, it is a John Voita Wednesday. We are reacting together to the NBA Top 100. Will Devin Booker ever be a top 10 player consensus again? Where will Jalen Green be next year on this list? And I've got some players that just missed the list that are on the Phoenix Suns. What do they have to do to make that jump next year? Let's talk about that and much more.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show mornings on YouTube at 7 a.m., as well as a credentialed Arizona Sports and more specifically Phoenix Suns media member. Thanks for making Locked On Phoenix Suns your first listen here on this beautiful Wednesday morning, Tuesday night, question mark, however you may be listening. Don't forget Locked On Suns free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button to do it. Thousands, dare I say, millions of Suns fans have already done. Become an everyday. Get locked onto the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Joining me today, listen, we had to work out some kinks. He's busier on Sundays. He's got things he's got to do. The NBA season is fast approaching. We're still working out the ins and outs of when he will be here, but he'll still be here once a week. It's a John Voita Wednesday, managing editor of Bright Side of the Sun and host of the Suns Jam Session podcast. Mr. Voita, good morning. Or good morning. Good evening. How are you?
Good day. I like to tip my hat and say good day unto thee, Ben. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm good, man. It's so fun to have you on. The people love you. The people absolutely love you, which is a little asinine because I was kind of hoping I'd bring on someone that people don't love as much and maybe I'd get a little bit of praise. But it just turns out maybe people just dislike me. And I think that's actually a firm possibility.
No, I appreciate anyone who does like me. I just like to think that I'm a fan just like you guys listening, you know, and I kind of come – that's
Not
like
me.
On the Suns Jam Session podcast, that's always kind of been our vision between, you know, myself and Matthew Lissy, who's been my co-host for coming up on 6 years now. It's kind of like just hanging out with a couple of Suns fans at Marley's and the kind of conversations that we'd have. And the goal of those conversations is to understand that not everybody's going to agree. And the same thing's going to happen with you and me, Ben, throughout, you know, all the time that we've had conversations in the past and we'll have conversations moving forward. It's empathy for somebody else, knowing it's like we might not agree, but we do know that we're all here for the same thing. And that is the Phoenix Suns. God help us all.
Yeah, you're the fan. And I am the just put on a pedestal, big J journalism, journalist, broadcaster, just eating away at facts and statistics while, you know, you're hanging out.
You take those facts and you get out of here. I have emotions.
Here's a here's a confession. I've only had Marley's once. Can I say this because it's a Suns podcast? And it was awful.
What did you order?
I don't remember, dude. It was like the first year.
The Jared Dudley is the best sandwich.
I went, I don't even remember where I ate it at, but I remember I had it with my wife, my mother-in-law. That was then my wife's mom at the time. We weren't married. And we had it and I was stoked and it wasn't good. So dude, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I don't know. Like
you need to go.
I don't know
back.
if Thunderdale Marley's going to pop up and just beat me up, but
like my wife and I have a tradition. We'll go to the Phoenix Symphony downtown, and afterwards we'll sneak out the side and go walk. It's right next to Marley's, and so it's like you hear some beautiful classical music, and then you go and you smash on some nachos and some wings and a Jared Dudley chicken sandwich on ciabatta bread. Oh, bro, you got to go back.
Maybe you and I will go before a game this year, which actually I would love to do.
That'd
you let me know. Let's make that happen because there's a Marley's right by the Suns Arena now.
I think it's the only one left. The one up here at Desert Ridge just closed. And I used to go to that all the time.
I think that's the one I went to. Well, there you go.
The nice thing about Marley's is I could always find a seat, which probably tells you something. But I loved it up here because I could just go. It's like, hey, a big sporting event's going on. Cardinals are playing. There's a big Suns game. The draft. Me and my friends used to always meet up and go there. And I went there probably about 2 months ago. I was like, oh, this is – and it used to be Ron Wolfley's before that. You know, his Wolfley's restaurant. So that specific building, there's something about it. Just doesn't last.
Man of the people, while I'm up here on top of my pedestal, shaking my fist like an old man screaming.
You get your Dan Marley's food out of here.
All right, let's talk some actual basketball. Always good to chop it up with you. So Devin Booker And obviously the NBA top 100 came out. You've, scoured the list. If it was Locked On NBA, we'd be talking about how Victor Wembanyama at 7 is asinine, because I feel like there should be a rule before you're considered a consensus top 10 player. You have to win a playoff game. Donovan Mitchell at 9. I guess if you choke a 1 seed in each conference at least once, I guess you get to move into the top 10 spot. Jalen Brunson. I mean, that's you don't want to hear my Jalen Brunson rant on that. But anyways, over here, our familiar friend, a guy that loves us both, Kevin Durant at number 11. I actually think that's way too high, but whatever. We say this isn't Locked On Rockets. Devin Booker comes in at 18. Here's my, what is it? What do you call a theory? Why Devin Booker is at number 18. I did the statistics last night. You kind of already know them, so I won't bore you with them, but I think this is what happens when you are out of sight, out of mind. The guy isn't old. He didn't have a big injury. He didn't completely fall off efficiency-wise. Like, Devin Booker was still one of the best statistical ISO basketball players in the NBA. Did he shoot poorly from three-point land? Yeah, but you can make the argument Mike Budenholzer making the dude chuck up threes, who's just a natural mid-range guy, is malpractice, but that's what they did. I think people aren't here to get my actual top 10, but it does feel disrespectful. I think in the NBA, you have anywhere between 1 to 8 superstars. I think right now you have 6 of them in the NBA right now, maybe 7. Devin Booker's not in that class, but I do think he isn't, I don't think he can lead a team to a championship win. We saw that against 2021. The team that had the actual superstar won it. Am I right? Is this just a clear example of out of sight, out of mind for Devin Booker, who comes in at 18th behind guys? Dude, this is nuts, man. You need to talk. This is not just me, but this is nuts. Kawhi Leonard, good player, physically sometimes available, emotionally never available. Evan Mobley hasn't gotten out of the second round. Cade Cunningham hasn't won a playoff series yet. I think he's won 2 playoff games in his life. That just feels a little disrespectful. I'll stop filibustering now.
Well, I look at it this way, Ben. So first and foremost, lists, right? Who and what generates this list, and what is their criteria? Because it's subjective. And that's why we can have this conversation, because it's a subjective conversation. It's not statistically based because of multiple reasons in which you stated relative to certain players who are higher on that list despite statistics or performance in the postseason not being as successful as other players on that list. When I first looked at this list, it was clear to me how this list was generated. This list was generated on regular season performance from a season ago, not postseason. Because Jalen Williams is number 20, right? The guy just won a championship, and I believe he's the second member of the Thunder on the list, and he's at 20, with SGA, being up top at number 2. So the way that this list was generated was it was saying this is a list based on how we believe that these players are going to perform in the regular season, based off of regular season performance last year and what we believe they're going to be next year. So they're not taking into things that you are weighting into the equation, which is how far did they perform in the postseason? With the Cavaliers, back-to-back exits early in the postseason, how do they have 2 guys essentially in the top, 13, 14? Is it 12? No, 16. So Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell being up there. So and that was the best regular season team last year, one of them, right? So the best Eastern Conference team. So the way that this list is generated is it's saying, hey, these guys were really good in the regular season last year, or we project these guys to be really good in the regular season next year. And when you look at it through that lens, instead of looking at it through the lens that you're looking at it through, which isn't wrong, because you're looking at it almost as the GOAT debate, right? It's when you start having that debate about LeBron and Jordan and disrespected Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you start to talk about the championships, the all-star games, and all the accolades of these specific players and how far they've gone in their postseason careers. You could have you could look at this list through that lens, but in my opinion, Devin Booker being at 18, I'm absolutely fine with that. I take a look at the players ahead of him, and the only one who I kind of get a little tingly about is perhaps Evan Mobley. Kawhi Leonard, maybe, just because he's somebody who's, go plant a couple trees before I really start to believe that you should be number 17 there, Kawhi. So I don't feel like Devin Booker's never been necessarily being disrespected because, again, through the lens that I'm looking at it, the Suns underperformed last year. They're projected to be a subpar team. So through that lens, I don't think that this is a disrespect for Devin Booker, and I don't really mind the list. Yes, maybe Victor Wembanyama is a little too high because everyone's extremely hyped on him. But outside of that, I really don't have a lot of issues with kind of how the front end of this list was generated. The back end, we'll talk about that later.
I roll my eyes at the Victor Wembanyama thing because I think he's going to be awesome too, but like, can we win a playoff game? Like just a play? Can we make the playoffs? That's all I care about, right? I'm just asking for the bare minimum before we make guys top 10. The other thing is, I guess playoff success doesn't matter. Donovan Mitchell continuously chokes in the playoffs. Jalen Brunson can't get past the Indiana Pacers. Evan Mobley's in the same spot as Donovan Mitchell right now. Will Devin Booker ever be seen, like next year, or actually ever, in Devin Booker's career, will he ever be a top 10 locked-on player or any list for that matter ever again? And if he will be, what would it have to look like?
It all depends on these next 2 seasons, in my opinion, to answer that question. And do I think it can happen? I'd like to be somewhat optimistic. I'd like to think that it could happen because we've seen year after year what Devin Booker is capable of as an elite scorer in this league. But as you mentioned, kind of the team success that drives these ratings, not necessarily in the postseason, but in the regular season, it's going to be a real challenge for him over these next 2 years. But if he can take a team like this Phoenix Suns team that we're about to experience in the 2025/26 season and elevate them to a team that doesn't even make the play-in, they make the playoffs straight up, he'll shoot back up. But I think that when you look at that list, there's a lot of old heads that are about to fall off of it. Kevin Durant's, his days are numbered, right? Especially if he continues to be upset with how the Rockets play him relative to usage. LeBron James, he's a season or 2 away from dropping off of this list. But you do have some young guns in there as well. Steph Curry is also another one on those lists. So there's a possibility, and we're right at that kind of sweet spot for Devin Booker as he's in his prime for the next 2 or 3 seasons. If he's ever going to get up to the top 10 again, it's going to have to happen in these next 2 to 3 seasons. Will I think it's going to happen? Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to because we're in kind of a long haul with Devin Booker. This next year's a rebuilding year, so next summer we can really reload and retool around him based on what we have and what we think we need to make relative to adjustments. And so it's all going to have to be not next season, but a season ahead of that. Next summer, that'll be his best shot to put himself in a position to be successful with that team. So it's a long way to say probably not, Ben.
We're reacting to the NBA top 100 list as voted on by Locked On podcast hosts of each team.
Where did you rank Devin Booker?
13. I had him at 13, which I thought was fair. I think he's still in the class of one of the best 2s in the league, and not the shooting guard position 2. I think he's the second best shooting guard in the league. But I think in terms of like number 1s, number 2s, number 3s, like Booker is one of the best Robins in the NBA.
Yes,
I actually think he can be the best. I actually think he can be the best Robin in the NBA, and I think we saw that at spurts with Kevin Durant. So I just thought it was a little far for a guy like Evan Mobley, who I guess is younger and a little taller. So man.
So by that theory, Devin Booker at 13, he's the best Robin in the league. There's 12 Batmans, in your opinion.
No, I think that there are superstars and fringe stars and stars. And so I think you have your all-stars, your fringe stars, or superstars, where I think Devin Booker is kind of in that realm, but there's a couple of guys better. And then I think like on this right here, like I would consider Jokic, Shea, Giannis, Luka, Ant to all be bona fide superstars. And I also consider, people are going to get upset about this, and I understand if they don't agree, I also consider Steph to be in that class, LeBron and KD, because they've been grandfathered in. They're just grandfathered in, and I can see them still take over games for large stretches of times in their old age, but I wouldn't argue with anyone if they're like, they're not there anymore. So those would be my...
I'm not as high as on Ant as many people, I would say. I agree with that list minus Anthony Edwards. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion. He's been to 2 Western Conference Finals back to back. But there's something there I just don't see that puts him in that superstar category, which you mentioned. Those superstars, like every one of those guys you mentioned, I feel could win an MVP. Well, and I don't feel like Ant could win an MVP.
So that could be a good barometer for you. Mine is, if you have any of those 6 to 8 guys on your team, you can win a championship. Regardless of what's around them, you can win a championship. Doesn't mean you will, but it means you can absolutely compete for one. Yeah, let's move over to Jalen Green, who came in at number 92. You know that. People think I'm a little mean on Jalen Green, so let's try to gas the dude up a little bit. What is the best version of Jalen Green? Where would he be at next year if he does the things that we want him to do? And we'll do that and talk about more. We'll do that and much more next. First, today's show is brought to you by my wonderful friends over at 5 Hour Energy, who at this point right now having there is 5 Hour Energy. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shots bring the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost, perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game, whether you're out on the course or just a little push to power through your day. 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without even leaving the green. So I talked about this last year. I've only been golfing twice in my life, but last year at my fantasy football get together, where I have all my buddies around, we're having a whole weekend, we're drafting teams. We go golfing the day of the draft. And the night before, we were up till like 2 a.m., which is just terrible for my health. But I did it anyways because it's the only time I see my dudes. And I pounded a 5 Hour Energy last year, and it really helped on the golf course. You know what I did? This year, I also stayed up till 1, 2 in the morning, pounded a 5 Hour Energy, got out there on the course, and actually shot the best I've ever shot, which is the best out of 2 times. But still, best I ever shot. Golf is all about good times, good people, and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of a 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the U.S. Tee up that trip. Visit 5-h-e-win.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. And I just realized I read this wrong. Visit 5hewin.com. So not those dashes. 5hewin.com and check out 5 Hour Energy today. That was
you need a 5 Hour Energy.
I need a 5. Actually, I could really use a 5 Hour Energy. I've been at it.
I can't, man. It'll keep me up till 3 in the morning, dude. I'm somebody who's like, I can't do caffeine after 1 in the afternoon, or I'm just like up.
That's
naturally wired. No, I'm naturally wired.
That's because you're 29 going on 85.
Yeah. No, I'm just in my 40s and always wired. I have natural energy.
Jalen Green comes in at the 92nd spot in the NBA Top 100 Locked On Players list, as voted by Locked On podcast host. I'll give you my take, and we'll do the same thing that I can get yours. I think this was very fair for Jalen Green. In fact, I actually think it was a little gracious to Jalen Green, because these 80s to 90s players, I think these are players that are either up and coming players in the league, and you see like Josh Giddey, Brandon Miller, maybe
Bradley
even
Beal.
Herb Jones. Yeah, God, dude, we talked about that last night. That's atrocious. I guess playing games doesn't actually matter or contributing to winning, but whatever. Or you're a valuable role player, like a superstar role player. So Naz Reid, Josh Hart's in here, DeAndre Hunter's in there, and here comes Jalen Green on this list. I think just based off of pure talent, and of course, 20 points a game last year on the second best team in the West. I think this is very fair for Jalen Green. And I do think if we're keeping it positive for him, if he fixes the things that we believe he needs to fix, which, and I said this in a short about this placing for Jalen Green, shoots a little bit less and is a little bit more efficient, even if that means he's only averaging 18 points a night, but he's doing it efficiently, or 17 points a night, he's doing it efficiently, that is going to shoot him up into the budding star tier, because he's not just scoring points, he's doing it efficiently. And because I do think he can be a plus defender. He's got the length, he's got the lateral quickness to do so. He's an athlete. He just needs to buy into it. You saw Jalen Green at 92. What does he have to do? And what does he have to do to, I think the guy, if he has a really good season, can move into like the top 40. So what does he have to do to be kind of guy? And where's your faith there?
I agree with that. And I think that's where he should live. I think this is a travesty. I think 92 for Jalen Green is absurd. Because if you take a look at all those players that you mentioned, they're all third and fourth offensive options on their team. Whereas you have Jalen Green, who is going to be the second offensive option on this team. He should be ranked higher based on his talent, based on what his projected usage is going to be, and based on his youth. I mean, he is, like you mentioned, young, upcoming, budding potential superstar. He is around Christian Braun. That guy's like the fifth option on the Nuggets. Jakob Poeltl is one behind Jalen Green. Like, respectively, pack your bags and get out of here. It's ridiculous. I don't normally get worked up about these things, and I'm not in somebody who's like living in the Jalen Green camp. You know that by talking to me. Listeners and watchers, you know that. I have my doubts. But to think that he's 92nd overall is just absolutely ridiculous. And what that does, and again, going back to my previous point about Devin Booker and the top end rankings here, it's clearly this list is generated based on how people feel that the Phoenix Suns are going to do this season. And the only way that they can kind of justify it's like, well, you know, if we just take them down a little bit, if we take their players and we only give them 2, you know, I mean, Christian Braun is the 5th Nugget on this list. The second Sun doesn't come until 92 overall. So it's a reflection of what they think the regular season is going to be. I don't think it's a reflection of his talent. I don't think it's a reflection of his capability. And I don't think it's a reflection of where does Locked On do like an end of year list too?
No, this is the first time we've done the list.
Okay.
We said to hell with the Ringer and ESPN's list. We want to do our own.
They need to do an end of year one. So one thing that I do on Bright Side of the Sun every year, and we're in the process of doing it right now, it's called Suns Rank, where I published an article a couple days ago, and I said, okay, I've got 4 different options, 4 different tiers for our teams. We have our contributor, you know, or our pretty much our same thing you were saying, right?
Yeah, like stars, role players, bench guys, end of
bingo.
Bench, yeah.
And I have all my readers. They fill out a poll and they kind of tell me who they think should be in what, and then by tier I go through and okay, so the top tier is Devin Booker and Jalen Green. And they'll vote on who they think is the best player on the Sun and the second best player. And we rank the roster from top to bottom at the beginning of the season, but we do it again at the end of the season to see how much the variance has occurred. And I pray that Locked On does it at the end of the season, because there's no world where Jalen Green is in the 90s at the end of the season, Ben. It's just absurd.
You know, that's so funny. Maybe, and like to all the people in the comment section who have been very upset with me about my concerns about Jalen Green, I think I get it now. I think I get it, because you being so upset about it and being kind of on the same island that I am about Jalen Green, maybe I'm a bit too harsh on the guy. Maybe that's an eye-opening thing. Listen, you're not just here. You're not just a pretty face. You're actually contributing to the show. Let's talk about who just missed the list. I got a couple of Phoenix Suns players who just missed the list. Maybe we'll do some guesses, maybe who you think it might be, and then we'll get into it, and let's do that next. Closing out the show. So while we're kind of, and we'll do this together. Maybe you and I will do this next week. We'll rank the best players on the Suns, or at least give them positions and roles, or maybe we'll wait till the Bright Side of the Sun does that. We could, talk about it on here as well and help promote that for you. But who do you think was the first Sun left off this list?
I bet you I can guess. So again, on Bright Side, I put the poll out, and tier 1's the cornerstones, tier 2's the pillars, tier 3's the wild cards, and tier 4's the depth pieces. And there was a couple players who got more than a substantial amount of votes for being cornerstone players. Now, obviously, being tier 2, the pillars is where the majority of their voting landed, and that's where they're going to land. But my first guess is the guy who had the highest percentage, 24% of the people who voted on it said he should be a cornerstone. That's Dylan Brooks.
God,
that's my guess.
You're the worst. Yeah, it is Dylan Brooks.
I have data. I'm a big data guy.
This is wild. Stephon Castle was 101. Nick Claxton, 102. Devin Vassell, 103. Mitchell Robinson, 104. Jalen Duran, 105. Walker Kessler, 106. Dylan Brooks at 107. Doesn't it kind of feel like, because of the players in the 80s and 90s, like, God, dude, there's no world right now where Bradley Beal contributes to winning more than Dylan Brooks does. Like, that's asinine.
I know.
But like, Aaron Naismith,
he's going to be coming off the bench.
I mean, come on. Dylan Brooks is better.
But the Clippers are going to be a better team. So from a metric standpoint, they need to have more Clippers in there. And like, all right, so take a look at it. How many total Clippers are on the Locked On 104? You got Kawhi is at number 17. You got James Harden number 24. You got Ivica Zubac at number 39. And then they put on Bradley Beal for number 89 because based on kind of – now, granted, it's voting with a bunch of people, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it showcases that expectations for the Clippers are somewhat high. The Spurs, they only have 2. And Castle's 101. Interesting.
Would you like to guess where I put Bradley Beal?
Oh, man, you said 92 is appropriate. So my guess is like 90 or 89 or something.
I drop kicked his ass out of the list. He did not.
Wow, the Suns guy. The Suns guy
kicked his ass right out of the list. I saw it. I saw his name on the ballot. I saw his name on the ballot, and I said, "Get the hell out of here, bro!
Get the hell out of here, my friend."
Dylan Brooks. It feels like he's a top 100 guy because of what he does, contributing to winning, as well as defensively. Do you want to guess what did I say Dylan Brooks was? 106? Let me get this right.
I think that's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 107. Do you want to guess who came in as well in the just missed in the 101s to 110s tier?
That's a member of the Phoenix Suns?
Member of the Phoenix Suns. I'll let everyone guess. Take your guesses. Pause the video.
Take your guesses in the chat. Based on my data, Ryan Dunn would be the next one.
Oh, that would have been a good one. No, not Ryan Dunn.
That's where Suns fans are at. They think Ryan Dunn. So if it's not Ryan Dunn, is it Mark Williams?
It was Mark Williams at 109, ending out that kind of, which, like, I do think Mark is a top 70 player in basketball, top 75 player in basketball.
Yeah, if he plays.
But you have to play games. So I think what's more interesting than Dylan Brooks than Mark Williams, let's say Mark averages, let's say it's a little less than his normal statistics. So what is he, 15 and 12? We'll call it 13 and 11 next year. And he's not a great defender, but he's a little bit above average. Where do you think he'd come in on this list next year? Do you think I'm right at like around the 75 range?
I think so. I think 75, maybe 75 to 85. Again, if he can put up those stats and, of course, stay healthy, because that's going to hurt his reputation no matter what. I mean, he hasn't played over, 44 games in a season or something like that. So to have a true impact, the best ability is availability. So he can certainly, so who's on that list right in that range? Who, knowing that this range is, or it's fluid, but you don't see any centers right there. I mean, DeAndre Hunter, he's more of a power forward. There's not a lot of Kristaps Porzingis is 75.
Cooper
Flagg is 80.
I left Cooper Flagg. I left Cooper Flagg off my list because I was like, you have to play a game. You have to play a game. I'm sorry. If you want to filibuster here for a second, I'm trying to find. I have Ryan Dunn on this list, but I'm trying to count how many how far Ryan Dunn is. Dude, he's far down. So give me a second.
He is because the challenge with Ryan Dunn is, one, he's going to be playing out of position. And that's probably the biggest concern for him this year is if he is a starter, it will be at power forward. And that's going to put him at a disadvantage. Now, it's going to put our defense kind of at a disadvantage because he's a defensive player and he's going to have to be forced to be a point of attack defender. You're kind of cascading the issue down. Now Jalen Green is guarding the 2, Devin Booker's guarding the 3, Dylan Brooks is guarding the 4, what have you. But my guess is he's probably pretty far down there, 150. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, it's not where he's at. It's
It's who
ahead
he's next
of him.
to? Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Give me a team. Who's ahead of it? Give me the team.
Utah. You'll never guess it. Utah Jazz.
The Utah
You'll
Jazz?
never guess it. You'll never guess it.
The guy who's in his second year out of USC.
No.
That kid. No?
No, it's even worse.
Oh, really?
Ace Bailey is ahead of him.
Oh, my God. Again,
Ace
hasn't
Bailey
played a game.
was ahead of him. Alex
That I don't
Sarr is
agree
ahead of
with.
him. Dude, Keyshawn George is ahead of him. Contavious Caldwell Pope is ahead of him.
Ugh.
Throw the damn list away.
Like
Throw it in the
George, I can
garbage
see.
can.
Of all those, George, I can see. But the other ones, I'm sorry. And I've said
Who would you rather have? Who would you rather have? Kevin Porter Jr. or Ryan Dunn?
Ryan Dunn. and I'm not the person who beats the drum for Ryan Dunn. I'm the person who says like his ceiling is a solid rotational guy. It's not a star. It's not a defensive player. A lot of people, especially in Phoenix, we see him through rose-colored glasses. But yeah,
I think he's a future all-star.
Yeah, I don't. I absolutely don't. I hope, but I don't think that's.
Well, there you go.
Future.
Positives Ben's coming out. This is a great episode of Locked On Phoenix. This is amazing. We're going a little over. Let's just react to this really quick because I want so he did come in at 153.
I wasn't too far off.
No, you were right on it. The right behind Ryan Dunn is Sam Merrill. Right ahead of Ryan Dunn is Max Strus, Khalil Ware, Jeremiah Fears.
Jeremiah Fears is ahead of Ryan Dunn?
Rui Hachimura, Kevin Porter Jr., Alex Sarr, Deron Sharp, and then, you get up to Ace Bailey. Dude, they had Grant Williams ahead of Ryan Dunn.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry, man. That's crazy.
When you get to this far in the list, I get it. It gets nuts. But, man, it just, again, I'll tell you this. This is my one observation with this list, is the Suns are disrespected even by their own locked-on personality.
I dropped. You have the list with you now. I dropped it in the chat between us, and now we're just going off the rails, and it doesn't look great the way it's kind of done, but you'll have Stephon Castle at the front, and then Dylan Harper is the last. Oh wait, the whole thing didn't come in. That's how far Ryan Dunn is.
That's insane.
Is the whole
Jordan
thing
Poole,
didn't even come in.
Tari Eason.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry that I had to subject you to this. This is kind of rough.
It's the season for lists, man. It's September. We're a month away from preseason, and again, none of this will matter once they jump the ball up. I'm surprised Jalen Durn's is far down. Dylan Brooks is like 2 behind Jalen Durn. Jalen Durn's a top 100 player, easy in my opinion.
I
really like Jalen Durn.
I was hoping the Suns could kind of, when there was like that Kevin Durant feelers out there and where he could go. I was like,
Detroit, please.
Yeah, that was kind of a guy of destination that was like, Asur Thompson, Jalen Durant.
I trade for Jalen Durn every time I'm on 2K. I'm like, dude, just bring that guy here.
You still play 2K? That's interesting.
Not this year. I'm obsessed with MLB The Show this year. Obsessed.
And with that being said, I think it's a great place to end. Just ending it on baseball. This show had everything. It had disrespect. It had Jalen Green love. It had Ryan Dunn behind Ace freaking Bailey. But that's what it is. Sometimes, it just happens. But with that being said, thanks guys for tuning into Locked On Phoenix Suns. That's John Voita, managing editor of Bright Side of the Sun and host of the Suns Jam Session podcast. Make sure you go check that out over there. For myself, Benjamin Garcia, follow us both on social media at Darth Voita. That's Darth, his last name Voita, and then myself at Ben Garcia Show. To everyone in the chat watching, for John, myself, I will see you guys tomorrow, right? Yes, it will be tomorrow. We are back to our full 5-day work week. Have a hell of a Tuesday night. Later, guys. Have a good one. Golly.